Alright, what up YouTube? Alright, so it's just taking me forever, not gonna lie. This is not an easy task. One of the harder jobs I've done on the car, and we're gonna have to have a cigarette to talk about it. Got to. We're gonna have a cigarette, talk about this here. Cig butt. Yep. Maybe a little sip of some Red Bull here, because that's, I'm not gonna lie to you, that's what's been keeping my ass going. I started picking the Red Bull back up and the job started to get done, so crazy as that sounds. Alright, so got all the metal cut out. Let's see here, I'll show you. This was a piece that I cut out. That was the patch panel that had been put on. As you can see, those were all rivets. That was put on over the top. Here's a piece of it. This weighs about 15 pounds. I'm going to show you guys a demonstration, okay? They used to use lead. As you can tell, that don't look really like metal, right? It's really weird looking, as you can tell. So that's lead. And this piece come out of the back of the car along with that other one right there. And another one. I got another one somewhere. Yeah, it's back over there laying against the thing. So anyway, listen to this fucking metal drop to the ground. Oh, shit. Hang on a second. One more time. Ready? Listen. God doggone it, man. Every time I hit something. Hang on. Here, listen to this. All right, there. Now here, listen to this. It's just that these two pieces, man. 15 pounds, 20 pounds. Just in those two pieces. But like I say, it was like double layered metal. It was junk. So I got one piece of metal across there now. Get a good look. Got me one piece of metal. Continuous metal. Nice and smooth, boy. Nice smooth. I also brought this panel out. I brought it out towards us, so that it would not have to have so much filler. And then here's what I've done underneath of it. As you can see, I have, it's a lip, so it's not just a piece of damn metal running across there. This is all, and dude, if you knew how I got this radius, boy, you'd be slicker than shit. It's slicker than shit. I did. Used a metal yardstick and I bent it and used that radius. It worked perfect. I couldn't freaking believe it. I still got to tack this up, and I got to tack these corners right here, and this isn't done. Just trying to get some metal in and get all the metal cut and done so that I can clean up that part of it, and just that way all I got's welding and grinding to do, you know, and stuff. But as you can see, that's the framework that's holding all this on. Oh, God, man, I'll tell you, this phone is getting to be junk. See, I got them all the way around. That's welded down to the floor. I haven't got them on the side yet because I wanted to get it in first. That way I can get it squared up and I'll weld the sides on. But the top, got the top all welded in. It goes all the way around. It's kind of a funk hole spot. I don't know. I didn't really know what to do with it, and I don't feel like boxing it. I could box all this in. Now that I realize that as I'm looking at it, I could box all that back in. Well, that would be something to do. Later date. Anyway. Later date. So the inside of the trunk, I cut. If you remember, I had this shit in there. I cut all that out, and I put this in. Alright, so I put this in because I was gonna have to go a total different route. I was basically gonna do this exact same thing, except for I was gonna have to cut my fuel cell out and my battery out. And that was fucking totally gay. But I had started here. This is where I originally started, was in the back of the car, because if I fucked something up, you couldn't see it. This was the first piece of metal that I put in. It went all the way across here, which I had to cut it out. The only thing that was left was these sides. But so this was the first piece I put in. Now I've kind of graduated a little bit, gotten a little better, got better ideas. So is what I come up with is I've closed this all in. As you can see, it's all the way. The radius and everything. It's fucking clean, man. It looks pretty good in my opinion. Gonna be some haters, I imagine, but anyway, so that all spot welds up. So, and then this piece here, it's got a bend on it. This is bent here at a 90, and then this sits on top of it, and that'll spot weld to that piece all the way across. And that'll be one joining piece. I'm missing a piece of metal I screwed up. If you see it right there beside the motor, right there, that piece of metal is this piece of metal right here, an inch wider. And it didn't fit inside the frame rails because I screwed up. Yep, you'll have that. And turns out a 4x4 piece of 20 gauge is like $95. So it was probably about a $45 screw up. Yep, because out of a 4x4 sheet, I got that and that. That's what I got out of it. That would fit. So still got that little piece right there. But it won't fit in between these and in between here. See, it's got to come just a shit hair past this pipe. As you can see, that's coming out to the back of the pipe there, because what that's going to butt up against is my wheel tubs. This whole great big ass opening right here. This whole big ass opening right here is a tub, you know. And I also got a piece of aluminum that goes back to the tub to kind of box this in from here around both sides here. So you won't see anything over here. You don't see none of this yet back in here. It boxes straight off from this flange straight to the back of the tub. So the only thing that was still open back here was this middle, and then in between these two bars, because my aluminum tin for the inside of the car, which is like the back of the car here, you know, that I put in the aluminum. I think I did a video on that. That's where it stops, is right here where these lines are at. Bam. And back. Where the fuck's the other one at? Right here. Okay, so anyway, that's where it's got to stop. Those are my lines. And being as I'm ran out of metal, I'm going to take another one. See, to give this some rigidity, I bent a 90 on the back of it. I'll bend another 90 and butt two 90s together with a spot weld right there. And go on up to my spot with another 90 on the back of that to give it something where I can screw. I'm going to fasten this to that. I believe that directly in here, this is going to land perfect, because this is where my seam is at for my metal up there. So I think it's going to work out perfect. If not, it's going to be good enough. But spot weld that in there. And see, I don't have a whole lot of room here. I got to put a fuel cell here, 5-gallon fuel cell, which I probably should have went with a 3. And then a battery, which ideal you want 2. I'm just going to put 1 in here because I ain't got a whole lot of room. And then I ran out of room for my fuel pump, because like I say, you ain't got but just this little spot here, you know, down in that little cubby. And it's kind of, there's no fuel pump there, no fuel pump there. So I was thinking right back there. So where this metal's at, because like I said, another piece of metal's going right here, right across there. And I think I'm going to mount my fuel cell, or not my fuel cell, I think I'm going to mount my fuel pump to that back wall. That's 20 gauge steel. It's going to have 90s in it. It's sturdy. It's got bends in it. It's welded like a mother fudger. Gonna be. So it will, I believe, hold the pump. So I think that's gonna look cool as shit, dude, sitting back there. You know what I mean? Mounted up right about there, fuel pump and shit. I can bring all the wires, mount the fuel pump backwards, have it all going towards the front. You know what I mean? Have all my lines go straight up to it, and then straight down that frame rail. Man, I got this messed up spot. Anyway, right there, straight down that is where my fuel line will go straight down and follow the frame rail. Thinking ahead. But that's what I've come up with. Like I say, man, I think it looks good. I was going to put some bead rolls in it, man. But I'm not going to lie, dude. I got to get a motor, an electric motor for that. because that steering wheel is a good idea. It makes it easier to use it as a manual bead roller. But like if you're doing a bunch of bead rolling shit, especially in steel, because steel is way harder to do. Not difficult wise, it's actually easier to work with, or easier to make look good, harder to bend, like to roll the fucking mandrels through, or whatever they call those things, those dies. It's harder to roll them through the steel, man. So it's not easy to do that. And plus you got to pre-stretch the panel so you don't warp it with another set of dies, which I got a preset. I got a set of pre-stretching dies that you use before you do the bead roll, and it stretches the metal out so that whenever you shrink it with the bead roller, it brings it back. Okay, you're adding more material and then taking it back out, and it actually doesn't warp the panel, not near as bad. You get like a little bit, but not near as much. It's called oil canning, and you don't get it, man. It's freaking awesome. It works great, but you got to go around that panel. Like for say I was going to do like an octagon around, or not an octagon, but like a square with some rounded edges on the damn thing, right? Octagon, where the fuck that come from? But if I did squares with rounded edges, I'd have to go around this panel 6 times to stretch the metal, and then once around it to bead roll it. So that's 7 times around. By the time I'm done, this fucking arm don't work no more. I swear to God, dude. Just the aluminum wore me out. So, just a quick video. Well, it's 11 fucking minutes long. So, that's where I'm at, man. I'm waiting on the wheelie bars. The wheelie bars are at Dennis's, so I'm waiting for those to come back. And then once them come, I'm going to bolt them to the rear end, get the damn thing back on its friggin' wheels, get back on its wheels, set my ride height up what I want. I want to check the shocks. This is just baloney out the rear end, but like, I think that I want to make sure. So I think I got like, we'll say I got 6 inches of shock travel. I got 6 inches of shock travel in the rear. I want to try and take and put 3.5 of that. I want to compress 3.5 inches of it. I want more to be compressed so that I have more. I want a little bit more to extension. In other words, if you guys know what I'm talking about, it's probably bullshit gibberish. You know, some of you guys don't even care what I'm talking about. But whenever I set the ride height, I want to make sure that my shock is a little past middle. So if middle's 3 inches, I want to maybe go 3.5 inches, because I'm not 100% sure, but what I've been reading, what I've been learning, what I've been watching a lot of ladder bar cars take off, and drag cars you would think squat whenever they take off, and they do not. They don't squat at all. The ladder bar cars don't. 4-link cars, if you set them up, they will, but ladder bars, they separate. So that means that the wheel tries to push itself out to the front of the car. So to control that, I want to have a little more shock movement to be able to control that. Because if it's a real harsh hit and you run out of shock travel before it can slow that momentum down, then it just jars it and it knocks your slicks loose. Okay, so I don't want that. I want to get a little more extension, so I want to make sure this shit's right. I got all my pinion angles set. I mean, my rear end is set in the car the way that it should be. Got a little bit of rear steer in it, not a whole lot. Just put like a fucking a half. You can only go half turns. Okay, I couldn't use flats on these because it's a Heim, and to adjust it, you got to take the Heim out and flip it and turn it back in. So you get 1/2 turn. Well, I got one more half turn in the passenger side of the car to bring that tire forward a little bit to give me some rear steer. That's all I got. So everything is kind of set. Should be pretty damn close. Get that ride height set, and then I'll be able to see where the wheelie bars hit right here on each side. Do me a little bitty, just going to take and come up and do a little arch, you know, probably about, they're inch and a quarter bars, so I'll probably go about a 1/2 inch each side, so about 2 1/4 inch hole. Pretty good size. And I'm going to case it all in too. So like how this is right here, it's not just going to be cut into this and that'd be it. I'm gonna go up the back of it with another piece of channel like this. I'll go up the back and around it and frame that in so that this all stays nice and straight and tight. And yes, sir. I don't know if it's the right way. I think it is. So anyway, all right, that's all I got. Hopefully here in a couple more weeks, man, I have this rear done and we'll be getting some panel car and start putting this thing together. Till next time, love thy neighbor. Peace, chick.